Professor Worgley's here. What happened with this set interval function? Now, usually the console is going to give you some error. So what I would like to do is comment out this code. So let's get rid of this set interval function. This is how I would debug it. And let's see what happened here. So I'm going to now refresh. And you'll see nothing is giving an error. So what's happening here? So I would start printing these things out. So is seconds printing? So I would do a console.log and I'd print out seconds. Okay, will that print out? I'll refresh. You'll see seconds printed out. Okay, so what about this? Does this work? So I'll print this out. Console log. Okay, this is a good way to debug. S rotate. Refresh. Okay, seconds is 31. You see it calls the rotate function and puts 31 in as a parameter. Well, wait a second. When I do the rotate function, do I just put in an integer? So if I search JavaScript, rotate. Okay, I'll go to W3 schools, and where is my rotate function? So you see rotate here, but that looks a little bit different than what I'm looking for. So where's the JavaScript rotate function? Well, let's go back to the coding example that we had from the lecture. If you remember when I did rotate, let's say in the Polaroid example, let's go back to Polaroid. I also had a rotate. You'll see I actually put the unit there. Okay, so I need to specify whether it's degrees or radians. So based off the example, I have a transformation here, and then I called the rotate function 0 degrees. So if I come back to my code in the CSS3 clock, you'll see I had the rotate function. I just put in an integer there. So first I need to specify the unit. And let's refresh the page. Let's see if that works. So now you'll see it says 41 degrees. That's better. But it's still not working. So am I grabbing the seconds list item here? Well, I'm trying to apply a transformation, but is it grabbing the seconds? So we can even try something else. So I can do a seconds hand. Let's see if it's the transformation or the selector. So I can say, okay, change the HTML to say hello world. Okay, refresh the page. Did anything change? I don't see hello world. So obviously the selector is not working. Well, why is the selector not working? Well, remember, this script is in the head and the DOM has not finished loading yet. So what do I need to do? I need to wait until the DOM is finished loading. So I could use the jQuery function, select the document, and when the document's ready, this anonymous function will be called. And the code should go in here. Okay, so let's try this same code. I'm going to take all this code. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to put it in the document ready function. Save it, and now refresh. Okay, we see the hello world, and we also see the rotation. So now I'm able to select that element. So we found a few errors. First, we found we forgot to put the degree. Second, we forgot to use the document ready. Now let's put the set interval function back in. And that's a good way to debug your code. Go line by line, start printing stuff out, start commenting stuff out, double check everything. Now we know seconds is working. We know our sRotate function is proper now with the degrees. And now we're able to select the seconds ID after the document has finished loading, after the DOM is ready. Okay, now you'll see some rotations here. Okay, so every second you'll see it's moving just a little bit. However, it's not on the tick marks. Why is it not on the tick marks? What I want you to do is try to figure this out on your own. Stop the video here, figure out why it's not on the tick marks, and then continue with this video. Okay, I'm going to continue with the video, but I'm giving you the option to stop, figure this out yourself, and come back to the video for the solution. Now, there's more than one solution here. If you stopped the video earlier, maybe you got this to work, but in a different way. And that's fine. Maybe you took the script tags and put them at the bottom of the body. That's fine. That's a solution as well. I'm just going over my solution. What's nice about functionality is there is more than one way to do it. So here's your last chance to stop the video before I give out this solution. Okay, so I have 60 seconds and a minute, and you'll see it's moving 60 ticks. And if you were watching, it went down to about between the 2 and the 3 and went back up to 12 because it reached 60 seconds. And we can watch that as I'm coding over here. So I have 60 seconds, I have 60 tick marks, and that needs to go from here, which is 0 degrees, all the way around one time, which would be 360 degrees. So I have 60 seconds, 60 tick marks, and it needs to go 360 degrees. So there's a formula there, and if you could calculate the formula, that would be even better. So how do we get the right angle? So if I want to get the proper angle, I have 60 increments per rotation, and the clock face can be thought of as 360 degrees. So what's the formula? We'll take 360 divided by 60 ticks per second, and that is going to be equal to 6. So what's that mean? Well, that means for each second, we have to rotate the hand by 6 degrees. So let's change up our formula. I'm going to create another variable called s degree, and that's going to be equal to our seconds multiplied by 6. And instead of applying these seconds directly, we can now apply our s degree. Now, in all honesty, we didn't even need this variable here. We could have just put seconds multiplied by 6. But by me creating these variables, it's very easy to read the code. And later when I come back, I'll understand what's happening here because I have a variable called seconds degree. And we calculated the degrees, which is 6. And that is applied to the sRotate function. Now, the sRotate function will then be applied in this transformation. So I'm going to save the code and do a refresh. You'll see the current seconds was around 36, 37, and now every tick mark is being hit by the second hand. So the second hand is perfectly on each tick mark. So that would be the solution. You can't just increment every second by 1 degree because the tick marks are 6 degrees apart. Now, before we finish this video, the other thing why I put a JSON object here is because for transformations, it's different for each browser. So remember, for Mozilla, you actually put -mots in front of the transform and then put in the sRotate. Okay, so this is another reason I created variables so I don't have to write that formula 3 times. We also had one for Chrome, Safari, and Opera, which is WebKit. So I'll do a -WebKit and then transform and apply our sRotate function. And the last one is just the default. Okay, so if you want to make this a little bit easier to read, you could separate this. You can put this on a new line. Then I have a comma. I can put this on a new line. Then I have a comma. And I can put this on a new line. And then this last one will close the function out. Okay, there's a few ways to write this, but since I can't use the whole screen, you'll see I'm calling the CSS function. I'm going to try the MOTS transformation first. If that doesn't work, I'm going to try the WebKit transformation second. And if that doesn't work, I'm just going to use the default. Okay, I'm going to refresh to make sure this still works. You'll see the console doesn't have any errors. The seconds hand is moving properly. It's moving around the clock face. I've reached a good stopping point. I've actually saved the code, so I did a Control-S. You'll see the file is lighting up because I'm doing a save. And that would be a great time to do a commit. So I'm going to come back to Git. I'm going to do a Git status. You'll see one file has been modified. I'm going to git add. I'm going to add number 3, index.html. And then I'm going to do a git status. You'll see it's been added to the stage. Then I can do a git commit with a message, finished the seconds hand functionality. Okay, then I can do, you'll see I added 23 lines of code. I can do a git log. And you'll see I have 4 commits now. So we're making good progress on this project. Let's say I introduced a bug by accident. I wanted to roll back this code. I have that commit. I can roll back the code. I can see who committed it, when, who introduced the problem, and fix all those problems easily using Git. We have 2 hands to go. So what I recommend is stopping the video here. Try to program the minute hand and the hour hand. So you can see the functionality. I programmed the seconds hand. And you can see I'm using the set interval. It needs to be in the ready function. I have my formulas here, and I call the CSS function. So the hour and the minute hand will be similar. So try to program this on your own. Figure out the formula, apply the transformation, call the rotate function, and see if you can accomplish this on your own. If you can, then the midterm coming up will be a lot easier for you. However, if you run into problems, feel free to Google or even continue to the next video to see how I do it. There's multiple solutions, so don't worry if your solution is different from mine. Stick with Professor Wergeles, and we'll see you in the next video.